This week in IT, Windows insiders get to test Microsoft's updated Start menu for Windows 11, but will it be enough to persuade Windows 10 users to migrate? Plus, Microsoft releases a fix for network connectivity issues for Windows Server 2025 domain controllers, and they stall on Patch Tuesday updates. So stay tuned for all the latest. Welcome to This Week in IT, the show where I talk about everything connected to Microsoft 365, Windows, and Azure. We talked a little bit a few weeks ago about some of the design changes that Microsoft is making to the Start menu in Windows 11, and this week, Windows insiders on the dev channel now actually get to test it in a public preview for the first time. So these changes are being made to appease some of the issues and complaints people have had about the Start menu in Windows 11 since it was first released. One of the biggest complaints is that you can't scroll all apps without clicking on the All Apps button in the top right hand corner of the Start menu today. Of course, there are other things like issues people have with the taskbar, not being able to reposition it, not being able to manually resize the Start menu itself, and there are a whole load of these little issues, in my mind little issues, but for some people not, that come with Windows 11. It's always really hard to take things away from people once you've given it to them. If you've ever worked in IT security, you'll know that. I certainly know that in endpoint security, it's very hard to take away local admin rights from a whole bunch of people who are just used to having them, regardless of whether it's the best thing for them or not. Now, personally, I haven't had too many issues with the Windows 11 Start menu. That's because I don't use many of those features that people were using in the Windows 10 Start menu, so of course I don't really miss them. But I can imagine if it's something that was part of your workflow, then of course that's probably quite annoying. So exactly what are we getting in this update? So what you have now is a fully scrollable Start menu without having to click to all apps. So you get your pinned apps at the top and all apps come at the bottom, and you can just scroll that entire list without having to do an extra click. So that's the biggest change. Microsoft is saying that the Start menu now has the ability to expand based on the screen size, but that's a decision that's going to be made for you about how large the Start menu is going to be. It's not something that you're going to be able to manually control as far as I understand. For the All Apps list, there are now two views. So you're going to get a category view, which groups the apps by, obviously, what kind of application it happens to be, and just an alphabetical list of applications. As part of this update for users with phone link, you're also going to get, it's going to be kind of an expandable sidebar, if you like, that comes as part of the Start menu, that you can add your phone link and your mobile apps and information as part of the Start menu now, and that's going to be visible. I've used phone link in the past. I've always found it to be a little bit unreliable. With iOS, it's there's really limited to what you can do with it. Maybe once we get this update for the Start menu into the stable channel, it's something that I'll try again. I've heard that over the last 6 months or so, phone link has really improved. So maybe this will be something that's useful to see on Start. It's clear as part of this redesign that the Start menu is becoming more like iOS in terms of the way applications are accessed and organized. As I said, I'm not personally a big user of the Start menu, so this is going to be something that doesn't affect me very much. But I don't know, is it something in organizations that is going to prevent you from being able to migrate to Windows 11 if that's what you need to do by October this year? Or is it something that your users aren't really going to have a big problem with? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Before we carry on, I've got a quick favour to ask you. About 55% of the people who watched last week's video weren't subscribed to the channel. Now, as we go live today, we're on about 12,625 subscribers. I'd love it if we could push that up to 12,700 this week. So if you'd like to see these weekly news updates from Petri.com, please subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell notification to make sure that you don't miss out on the latest uploads. The quality issues with Windows updates continue. Back in April this this year, Microsoft released an update for Windows Server, and this affected Windows Server 2025. Essentially, once you applied this update, users were no longer able to access the domain controller. That's a bit of a problem if your users actually need to log on to their devices. So what happened? So essentially, Microsoft's update applied the wrong firewall profile, and that essentially nuked all access to the ability for endpoints to see domain controllers. So the only workaround was essentially to either restart the device or to reset the network adapter on the domain controller. Microsoft has finally released a patch for this. I think it's, considering we're already in June, it seems to me they've taken rather a long time to patch this. If all the patch needed to do was update the firewall profile that was being applied to the domain controller, Microsoft, what on earth are you doing? Did it really take you this long to investigate the problem and to release a patch? I mean, really, that is a little bit too much in my opinion. Way too long to receive a patch for this problem. This patch also fixes another issue, and that was that people logging in with Windows Hello on Windows Server, I think 2016, 2019, 2022, and Server 2025 were not able to log in using Windows Hello. Don't know what the issue was there, but this patch also fixes that. Maybe it was more complex to solve and they decided to bundle these two things together, but they really should have been separated and patched as quickly as possible. It was patched Tuesday this week, and the cumulative update for Windows 11 24H2 was released and then put on hold by Microsoft because they discovered an issue during the rollout. So, well, at least they discovered the issue pretty quickly. They put a block on new devices receiving the updates, and probably if you're in an organization and you're controlling the applications that are installed on your device, this would not have affected you because they found that this patch was essentially affecting only devices that had the easy anti-cheat software. I'm not a gamer, so I'm not really very familiar with what that is exactly, installed on their devices. So that was mainly a problem affecting consumers. But if you're receiving updates via Windows Update from the public internet, you don't have your own internal Windows Update server or some other update mechanism, then this pause on receiving that update would have affected your organization as well. Microsoft has already released a revised version of the cumulative update, so that was, I think, released the next day. So they just essentially rolled that version out to people who have this easy anti-cheat application installed on their devices. But again, another big quality control issue with these updates. Probably didn't affect organizations too much this time, but of course the issue with the Windows Server 2025 domain controllers was potentially a big issue for organizations that have already upgraded to the latest version of Windows Server. If you found this video useful, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up because it helps to get it seen by more people on YouTube and to grow the channel. I'm going to leave you another video now about Microsoft 365 Copilot, so do check that out. But that's it from me for this week, and I'll see you next time.